There's a good chance that you missed some great games during Steam Next Fest. So we're gonna go over 10 games that stood out to me that I think you should get on your wish list right away. First up, we've got Chrono Sword, which is an action-adventure game crafted around time travel. So if a pillar is collapsed and blocking your way, you can travel back in time to when it wasn't collapsed and you can go along the path. Combat is mainly melee focused, where you can block and dodge to avoid attacks, but you can also parry enemies to gain an upper hand in battle. One thing that really stood out to me about Chrono Sword was the art style. It takes really detailed pixel art with hand-drawn portraits for each character, and it results in a really cool and fleshed out world. And with each area having lots of little nooks and crannies to explore with things to be found, as well as this time travel mechanic, there's going to be a lot to do. The release date for Chrono Sword is still to be announced in the future, or is it the past? Windblown is an action-adventure roguelike from the creators of Dead Cells. Players can equip 2 weapons at a time, and each has its own moveset. And if your timing is good, you can chain a combo between both weapons to unleash devastating damage on your enemies. As you move through each area fighting different enemies and unlocking different chests, you're going to get better things to take on stronger foes. And just as with most roguelikes, if you die, you lose most of the upgrades on your run, save for some currency that you can use for permanent upgrades. One thing I really liked about Windblown is how strong you feel as you move through each level. Even in this game's single player demo, there was a lot to unlock and lots of cool abilities to try out. And I did say single player because the ideal experience of Windblown is 3-player cooperative. So you and up to 2 other friends can run wild in this game, taking on bosses and different challenges together. And as of this recording, Windblown is fully available, so go check it out. And as usual, all of the games will be linked below in the description of this video. Atomic Owl is a 2D side-scrolling platformer that puts a large emphasis on its narrative. Players take on the role of an anthropomorphic owl that can fight with a sword named Hidalgo. And with the help of his now cursed and very chatty sword, the two embark on an adventure to clear the world of its corruption. And although the demo for Atomic Owl is short, its controls imply that you're going to have some reflex-heavy battles with some precision platforming as well. But for me, the standout thing about Atomic Owl is how this game establishes atmosphere and environment with how crispy the pixel art combined with the zoomed out camera. It's really easy to get immersed in each area given how much you can see at any given time. It makes everything feel really big and really fun to navigate. And although the combat is fairly straightforward in the demo, I'm almost certain that there's going to be a lot more to this game. And I do recommend that you try Atomic Owl's demo for yourself, because at the very end there's something really cool that implies a lot more about the game as a whole. But it's a lot more fun to experience it for yourself. Spilled is a game that somehow turned cleaning up oil spills in beautiful areas into a cozy experience. This game serves as a form of relaxation as well as a reminder that the oceans could use a little help. Slowly maneuvering your boat through these dirty areas to clean up oil spills as well as trash from the ocean is oddly satisfying. And as you move through these areas cleaning up messes, you deposit your oil and you get some money in return. And you use that cash to make your boat better at cleaning up messes. You can increase how much oil your boat can carry as well as how much trash it can pick up at any given moment. But the best part about this game is that it's actually being developed by a student who lives on a boat. Their name is Lente, and after a successful Kickstarter campaign, they were able to put their studies on hold for 2 years so they can build their dream game. And there's something really awesome about the fact that a game about cleaning up the ocean is being built on a boat. And as most passion projects are, this game's release date is yet to be announced. Void Souls is a minimalistic Souls-like that pits polygons against one another in a battle to survive. In spite of its simple presentation, this game is very demanding of your positional awareness and timing. It's best to approach each demonic shape with caution before you start attacking. Even just the demo of Void Souls presented a pretty decent challenge, so if you're the kind of person who likes that sort of thing, then you should throw this game on your wish list right away. And you won't have to wait too long for the full release of Void Souls, because it's going to be out on November 12th of 2024. The Edge of Allegoria is a Game Boy inspired RPG, and I'll let you figure out which Game Boy RPG it's inspired by. Playing as an unassuming and fairly unimpressive farmer, you traverse the countryside to battle animals. From the start, this quest has no real significance aside from gaining experience points. On top of gaining experience in battle like any good RPG lets you, you'll also unlock new abilities based on the weapons you have equipped. So after using your equipped weapon's ability enough times, you will master it, which means you can use that move without actually having the weapon on you. And as you unlock new abilities, since you can only have a few equipped at a time, you can start seeing which ones synergize the best. For example, you could have a move that makes enemies more susceptible to bleeding and another move that makes them actually bleed. So it becomes very clear that the Edge of Allegoria rewards you for trying different things and mixing and matching movesets to see what works for you. So aside from giving you a lot of options to customize your experience in battle, the Edge of Allegoria also has a really crass sense of humor, which I liked. It just made the experience of the demo that much more enjoyable, so I'm sure that the full version is going to have even more of that. So you can play the demo right now, but you'll be able to play the full version on December 4th, 2024. SULFUR is a roguelike first-person shooter that's set in an oddly charismatic version of Purgatory called SULFUR. As a pastor, it's up to you to exact revenge on the witch who burned down the church in your town. Traversing through SULFUR, players are going to unlock new weapons, new mods for their weapons, trinkets, and other things that are going to help them fight all these goblins that are trying to kill them. But no matter how strong you get, it can be over in an instant if you're not mindful of how many enemies are surrounding you at any given time. So if you're smart, you'll find times to warp back to town before you lose everything on your impending doom. But just like with any roguelike, it's up to you to try to fight off that greed you're gonna feel when you think, one more room, I can make it one more room before you eventually lose everything. And SULFUR is gonna be released on October 28th of 2024. Ninja Ming Wu is a puzzle platformer that challenges players to think simply in seemingly complex scenarios. The game doubles down on trying to get you to focus by giving you one challenge at a time. Satisfying each level's clear condition usually involves hitting all of the nodes that you need to unlock the flag. But sometimes these nodes are both timing based and also really far out of reach, so you gotta use this teleportation mechanic. And this is actually pretty crafty. You throw a shuriken and then you can warp to it. I was able to clear every single stage in Ninja Ming Wu's demo, but the last one, because that is a really hard challenge. This could also just mean that I'm really bad at puzzle platformers, but if that challenge is anything of an indication, then the final game is going to be a real head scratcher. And you can play the final game of Ninja Ming Wu on October 30th, 2024. Next up is a game called Rogue Flight. This game is inspired not only by arcade games, but classic anime as well. This stylish arcade-inspired space combat game focuses on different weapons, parrying enemy attacks, and using a mid-air drift to blow up enemies. And although the demo for Rogue Flight only featured one level, I was compelled to try it again to get a better score. You can get aesthetic changes like different colors for your starship, but more importantly, there's going to be new weapons to unlock. Not only is this going to give you lots of variety as you play through the story in Rogue Flight, it's also going to give you a reason to play levels over again with different loadouts. And for me, replayability like that is what makes experiences like Rogue Flight more fun. So give Rogue Flight's demo a try, and if you like it, the game's available for purchase now. Usual June is an action-adventure game where June and her friends explore the weirder parts of their town called Fen Harbor. And before long, for some reason, June finds herself fighting through hordes of creeps in the world of the undead. They don't explain why June can just talk to ghosts in the demo, but I'm sure they're gonna cover that in the full game. Usual June's combat is pretty straightforward, employing simple melee attacks as well as items to use in battle. And once you're done fighting, you can usually find a vending machine that lets you purchase more items. However, there isn't too much to do in between these encounters. You're either fighting in a room full of glowing crabs, or you're looking for the next room of glowing crabs to fight. Since this is just a demo, it's safe to assume that there's going to be more to do in each area exploration-wise, but I was especially drawn to Usual June's entire aesthetic. The game's got a really nice color scheme, really nice effects, and I really like the animation. And at the very least, I am curious about Usual June's narrative. And if any of this sounds like it's up your alley, then Usual June will be out in 2025. The October 2024 Steam Next Fest was just so good. There were so many good games to play play. So if you missed this one, then be sure to look out for the next one, because remember, there's some demos that go away when Steam Next Fest is over. And don't forget to check the description of this video for links to all the games that I talked about. And while you're down there, don't forget to like the video if you found any of these games interesting. As a matter of fact, let me know in the comments what games you did find interesting, and if there were any games from Steam Next Fest that you enjoyed that I didn't talk about. Because given how many good demos there were on Steam Next Fest, that is very, very possible. We talk about all sorts of video games here, so if that's the kind of thing you're into, then make sure you subscribe. And of course, thank you very much for letting me talk your ear off about October 2024's Steam Next Fest, and I will see you in the next one.